My job as a creative director in the company is to bring as much projects in as possible. I work from 9 or in the morning until 12 or 1, then I don't write anymore because after lunch I'm useless. Then I'll come back at around 7. My best friend doing writing is actually Red Bull. It's the only time I drink Red Bull. I start at 8, I'll drink, and I will not stop writing until 1 o'clock. Bunting was written with 2 Red Bull cans. It was written in 24 hours. There was a lot of gung-ho-ness to that guy 8 years ago because right after Bunting, I got separated from my wife. Although one chapter began about making my first film, another chapter ended. There were a lot of deaths around me and of people who are of my age. And by the time I got my niece, the last thing I want to be is the uncle that is referred to in past tense. I do not want to be the uncle who was a filmmaker, who was a writer. I'm not ashamed to say this now. It is probably a very expensive telemovie. That's the way I put it now. These are things that I learned like 8 years on, you know. I mean, when you watch the film again, the performances are all there, I think. And I think my DP did a great job, wardrobe did a great job, art did a fantastic job. I think the biggest failure in that sense was me because I wasn't looking at Bunting like a film. I wish I had, you know, I thought I had, but only when time goes by, you know, then you realize that all the mistakes that you make is humongous. You know, I never thought of it until like much later. I did a little better when I did For Love, and I think I did it even better with Ibu. And it was a very interesting journey because I started trusting my DPs. You know, I think I got wiser in the sense that I realized that in order to be good is to work with people who are way better than you, and it's about trusting people. In my mind, I keep thinking of a story about a small kampong, very religious. What if La Senza or Victoria's Secret opens in the middle of town? And how will that change the makcik-makcik who probably have never seen leopard prints and like thongs before? How would they change, right? And I just thought it was funny. You know, I just thought so-called Muslim, sexy Muslim comedy of sorts. I have not seen that before. I mean, I got to work with Sharifah Amani, you know, and she is a force of nature. You know, she is a force of nature in a small packet, you know, and having all this cast, you know, I'm blessed to work with such a tremendous cast that actually fight back. And that's something that I thought was very, very interesting. You know, they would not do something they do not believe in. So that is very exciting, you know. And just seeing the whole alchemy of like casting and the art department and the people working together, you know, there's this microcosm of like, wow, art that was created. And I wish I can be more specific, but it just is, you know. And what I thought was beautiful was that I'm in a, like I keep telling everybody, I'm a stranger in your country. You know, you have to tell me how things work. And we do bring in some of our Singaporeanness in terms of how we work, but a lot of the times is that we are learning from them, you know. When I look back at it, you know, you don't just see a film, you see memories, you know, you see the memories of the friendship that was created, you know. As artists, we don't create something to change people. We create something to change ourselves as artists, right? And I thought, wow, that is amazing. And then suddenly it just fell into place that whatever film or project I was doing, it said something about me at that moment in time, right? I don't wear the hijab, I'm not a wrestler, but the idea of Bunting about a girl who wants to fulfill her dreams of being a wrestler was probably a metaphor of me trying to be a filmmaker. the struggles that I face, like Ibu, for example, is a story about a stepmother and a stepchild. It's probably me trying to find a place in my world as an uncle to my niece. La Luna, more than anything else, hopefully I want to tell a story about very strong women, and I want my niece to grow up into that world where where women are stronger, and I just want her to watch it one day and know that her uncle made it for her, because I want her to come into a new a society where she grew up in, where she can actually have different perspective about patriarchy and also the where religion stays among us. It is very gratifying to know that once upon a time, I was the student who was interviewing the Juan Fus of the world, and now you are doing that with me. And one day you will be sitting on this side while somebody else is going to be interviewing you. And it's great to know that, the fire is alive, and I'm so happy that the Singapore Film, at least, or the fire is alive with people like you. Trivia, if Nicole is watching this, the first time we worked together, I was the EP of a show and she was the director. It's called 100 Wishes. If you ever tell her, remind her that. I'm sure it was not the best experience for her, but for doing TV, but it was really, really one of the, it is literally after she graduated, first batch, ADM, I remember.